Welcome back to my channel. Today we will take up the part 4 of the release strategy of purchasing documents. In the part 1 we had seen an overview of the release strategy of the purchasing documents like purchase requisitions and external purchasing documents. In the part 2 we had created and tested a release strategy for the item-wise release of purchase requisition. In the part 3 we had created and tested a release strategy for the overall release of purchase requisitions. Now in the part 4, we will create and test a release strategy for the purchase orders. We know very well that the purpose of the release strategy is to prevent the printout or transmission of the documents to the vendors without proper approval. And we know external purchasing documents can be released only at header level, and item-wise release is not possible for external purchasing documents. Item-wise release is possible only for purchase requisitions. This means that for external purchasing documents, we can use only one release procedure, that is release procedure with classification. Now here, to create and test the release strategy for purchase order, we have a business requirement. As you know that, if you work on the real-time projects, right? So where, the client will give some requirement. They will tell you, okay, configure a release strategy, and we want the purchase order to be released by 3 people, and that purchase order release strategy should be activated only, that is, if certain characteristics, satisfies the purchase order. Okay, so what they will give? They will give the release codes and also the characteristics. So based on these two things, we have to create the release strategy. Now here, the business requirement is 3 people will be releasing the purchase order. The first person who releases is purchase manager, second is plant manager, third is general manager. So here, we have named the release codes as P1, P2 and P3 for the 3 release codes. And here, as per the business requirement, they have given these requirements. Okay, the first thing is purchase order document category. Okay, for purchase order, it will be F. Okay, for contract and scheduling agreement, it will be different. Then plant, okay, it is 9110. Purchasing organization, IN01. Purchasing group, M01. And total net order value of the purchase order is 25,000 to 50,000 INR. Okay, that means here, if somebody creates a purchase order for plant 9110, purchasing organization IN01, purchasing group M01, and if the total order value of the purchase order is from 25,000 to 50,000 INR, then that purchase order should be subject to release strategy. Okay, so that is mean that purchase order should be released by these 3 people. Then only that purchase order can be printed and sent to the external vendors. Okay, so now we will take up this, configuration and testing of this release strategy. Okay, so here, for testing, we will do both positive testing as well as negative test. In positive test, that is, we have to create a purchase order for the criteria, and the value of the purchase order should be between 25,000 to 50,000. It's okay, more than 25,000 and less than 50,000. That release strategy should be activated. That is the positive test. In the negative test, we will create a purchase order for any value less than 25,000 rupees. Okay, then that purchase order should not be subject to release strategy. Okay, that is about the testing actually. Now coming to the configuration, we know very well, right? So there are 3 steps in creating the release strategy. First is create the characteristics for the release strategy. Second, create the class. Third is create the release strategy. And when we create the release strategy, again, there are 4 steps. First, we have to create the release group. Second, we have to create the release codes. Third, release indicator. And finally, the release strategy. Okay. So now, we will take up this, this configuration. First, we will create the characteristic. Okay. So here, when you create the characteristic, you have to give some name actually. Okay. Here. So here, for purchase order document category, I have selected the name FRG EKKO BSTYP. Okay, EKKO means it is external purchasing document. Okay, it is significance in SAP. So I have given this name. If you want, you can give any name as you like. Then plant FRG EKKO WERKS. Purchasing organization FRG EKKO EKORG. Purchasing group ending with EKGRP, and total net order value FRG EKKO GNETW underscore INR. See, we have to, go to one table actually, database table, where the fields for all the characteristics, okay, which we can use to create the release strategy are stored. Okay. So if we go to this database table, we can see all these, all these, field values as well as, their field names and characters, number of characters all that down. So let me go to this first, the first step is, before creating characteristic, we have to go to this table and check the uh, field names, as well as, that is the descriptions. Okay. Let me go to SAP here. I'm going to go to the open one screen here. The transaction code to display the table CEKKO is SC11. Okay, I am in SC11 transaction code here. View the database table name as CEKKO and click on display. Here, we can see all the fields, that we can use as characteristic for the release strategy for the external purchasing documents. So here, if I go here, the first characteristic will be purchase order document category. Okay, let me see where is this purchase order document category here. I can see here purchasing document category. The field name is BSTYP. The second is plant. Okay, the field is plant. It is a very common, very important field here. Plant WERKS. Then purchasing organization. This is also important, for purchase orders when you create purchase order. Okay, purchasing organization. The field is EKORG. Okay, let me go here. Let me scroll up. Purchasing organization here, the field is EKORG. Then purchasing group here, EKGRP. And the last is the total net order value of the purchase order. Okay, so here we'll scroll down. Okay, here total net order value here. The field is GNETW. Okay, so now what I am going to do, I will, highlight, all these fields and descriptions, okay, for which, we are going to create the characteristics, okay, as per the business requirement. The first is purchasing document category. Then the second is purchase organization. Then is the purchasing group. Then plant and total net order value. Okay, so these are the, okay, five fields, okay, for which, we are going to create the characteristic. Okay, we are going to take these, field values actually here. Okay, first I will create the characteristic purchase order document category. I will call it as FRG EKKO underscore BSTYP. Okay, so how to create the characteristic here? Okay, I will take you to in SPRO what you have to do. Material management, purchasing, purchase order, here. Edit characteristics. Under purchase order, edit characteristics here. Click here. So what the name of this characteristic? Okay, I have given as FRG EKKO BSTYP. Okay, FRG EKKO BSTYP. Let me display this one. See here, I have already created this characteristic actually. Okay, so here, if we the description and data type, number of characters, everything, will be automatically copied by the program actually. So how I will show you. Okay, for example, let me say I am creating a new characteristic. Okay, okay. If you create a characteristic for the first time, this is how, you have to give some name. Okay, I will give you a new name and show you by trying to create the same characteristic. Okay, but I'm not going to create, just I'm showing. Click on create. Okay, as soon as you click on create, right here, you have to go to the additional data first thing. Okay, whenever you create any characteristic, put the table name. This is for purchase order, which is external purchasing document. The table name will be always CEKKO and field name will be BSTYP. Put the table name and field name and just press enter. Press enter. Format data taken from above date. You will get this one. Click continue. Okay. As soon as you continue, you will see that the SAP system will automatically, copy the description and the data type, number of characters, all from the this table. CEKQ. See here. For the purchasing document category, here the field, this is the field BSTVP. The data type is character. Here you can see here character, and the number of characters is only one. Okay, so this is automatically captured here. Okay, so as soon as you put the table name and field name and enter, so basic data, everything is filled actually. And here the only thing you can do is, click these multiple values. Okay, multiple values, because for different release strategies we will use different document categories. Okay, for purchase order it will be F, contract it is K, scheduling agreement it is L, like that. Okay, next, after this one, if you go to the description, you can see uh, it is automatically copied. Description is automatically copied in the language English EN. If you want, you can add description in different languages. Okay, then in the restrictions here, the class type, you have to put it as 032, which is the standard SAP class for release strategy. And here, here, if you go to the values here, you can see here, all these, will be automatically copied. Okay, see here. I did not, put anything here. The values of this one will be automatically copied from the dictionary, data dictionary, because, this table CEKKO will link, you know, that particular field BSTVP with the all the, purchasing document categories available, and the program or the system will automatically, copy all of them here. For purchase order, it is F. You can see here. For contract, it is K. You can see here. For scheduling agreement, it is L. Okay. All this will be automatically copied. Nothing to add here. Okay. Now you can save this one. Okay. But actually, I have already created one characteristic by name FRG EKKO BSTVP. I'm not going to create anything new. Okay. When you are creating, okay, you can create by giving any name. Okay. And just go to this additional data, input the table name, field name, enter. All this, description and everything, data type, number of characters will be copied. Only select multiple values. In the restrictions, add class type 032 and just save. Okay, that is what you have to do. Okay, but I'm not going to save it because I already have, one class actually. Okay, so sorry, I have already have one characteristic FRG underscore EKKO underscore BSTV. See here. I just, how I had created, I went to additional data, put the table name, field name, enter. So this is automatically filled. The description, okay, the data type and number of characters, everything automatically filled. I only selected multiple values. Then in the restrictions, I just added class type 032, and in values, the system has automatically updated all this. Okay, that is the purchasing document categories here. Okay, the first characteristic is covered. What is the next characteristic? Second characteristic is plant. Here, plant. I have given the name as FRG underscore EKKO underscore works. Okay, let me display that one. I will display this characteristics here. Works here. Okay, so just display here. If you go to the basic data here, so what I did, how we created, I went to additional data, put the table name CEKKO, field name is WERK, enter. The system automatically copied description as plant, data type character format, and number of characters is 4. It is automatically copied. Okay. Then here, I have to select multiple values here. Okay. So multiple values. Okay. Here, I will select multiple values here. Okay. I am in the change mode. If you want to, that is make any changes here, you can do anytime actually. Click on this change button and I selected multiple values. Okay. Then in restrictions, I had, added the class type as 032. And in the values, if you want, I can add the plant names, okay, which I want here. For example, 9110, I will be using. Okay. If you want, I can add. And in the descriptions, the system will automatically, update the description in language English, EN. And if you want to add the description in different languages, we can add the language and the description here. Okay. Now, since, I had changed this value assignment to multiple values, I'm going to save. Okay. So this is done. Okay. Now I will display this one. You can see this one. Okay. Second characteristic is done. Third one, purchasing organization. So I had named this as FRG EKKO EKORG. Let me show you here. EKORG. Okay. Display. Okay. So what I had did, I went to additional data. I give this name. Okay. Then went to additional data, input the table CEKKO and the field is EKORG. Okay. EKORG, right? This one, purchasing organization. Here you can see here, EKORG. As soon as you press enter, the system will, automatically update the data type as here, character format here, and the number of characters is 4. You can see here for purchasing organization. So this is automatically, updated by the table here, description as well as, character format and number of characters. Okay, I had selected multiple values. Then in the restrictions, I had given the class type as 032. Okay, in the descriptions, okay, if you want, we can add the description in multiple language. Okay, like this here. Here, these are added for some different release strategies based on some different business requirement of different geographies. Okay, all these are added. Okay, it is not required. Only you can add it if it is required. Okay, here, if you want, we can add the purchasing organization here. Okay, whichever we want actually. This is not mandatory, but if you want, you can add here. Okay, so this is also done. Purchasing organization. The next characteristic is purchasing group. I had given the name as FRG, EKKO, EKGRP. Okay, let me go to this EK. I will show you EKGRP display. So how I had created, I just put the table name and field name. Field name is for purchasing group, it is EKGRP. You can see here, the field name is EKGRP. Okay, and here for this one, the data type is character format and the number of characters is 4. Standard SAP 3. Sorry, number of characters is 3 for purchasing group. Okay, let me go here. EKGRP. Okay. Okay, then if you go to the basic data, we can see here it has a system has automatically updated the description as purchasing group, and here the character format and number of characters 3, and I have selected multiple values. This one we have to select multiple values. Then in restrictions, I had added the class type 032, and in descriptions, okay, if you want, we can add the description in different languages, but by default, it will be system will automatically update in English language. Here you can see Japanese language. Okay, this is for APAC region, Asia Pacific. Okay, if you want, we can add it. Okay, but this is the system will automatically update it English language. Okay, and in the values here, I have updated so many purchasing groups because I need it for some other business requirement. Okay, so okay, like this. So this is also done. And the last characteristic is for total net order value of purchase order. Okay. I had given this characteristic name as FRG underscore EKKO underscore GNETW. Let me GNETW underscore INR, because I am going to use this field for purchase orders created within India, and the currency will be INR. That is the reason I have given this name with this. If you want, you can give any name as you like. Okay, so here GNETW INR display here. You can see the basic data. Okay, what I had done, I had gone to additional data, input table name CKKO, field name GNETW, press enter. The system will automatically update this description as total net order value, and it will update the data type as currency format. Automatically it will update. The number of characters also it will update automatically, and decimal places also it will update automatically. The only thing we had to add is currency. So based on the geography and the country, for which, this business requirement is there, we had to add the currency. Now for me, it is required for India, so I am adding currency INR. And here in the value assignment, okay, we have to select multiple values and interval values allowed. For any characteristic, which is related to the order value, total value of the purchasing document, we have to select both multiple values as well as interval values allowed. Why interval values allowed? For example, if the business says that, they want that any purchase order which is created between certain range of a value like 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees, or 25,000 to 50,000, or 1 lakh rupees to 2 lakh rupees, like that, then that purchase order should be subject to release strategy. So hence, that is, for this characteristic total order value, we have to select interval value allowed. This is also very important. Both multiple values as well as interval value allowed should be selected. Then in restrictions, we can see this release class type is 032, which is the standard SAP class for release strategy. In the descriptions, okay, I have added, this is automatically updated by system, okay, in language English. If you want, we can add it in different languages. If you want to add it, just go to here, click on change button and add this. Then in the values here, okay, here, since, I am going to, that is the value of the purchase order, okay, for which should be subject to the release strategy as per the business requirement is 25,000 to 50,000. Okay, that means here, if anybody creates a purchase order with a value 25,000 to 50,000 for this plant 9110, for the purchasing organization IN01, and purchasing group M01, that will be subject to a release strategy. So I have added here this value 25,000 to 50,000 here. And if you want, that is, you can add any other, here value here. So based on, your business requirement here, I added here. Okay. So the creation of the characteristics is complete. Step number 1 is done. Okay. Then the second step is create the clause for the release strategy of purchase order. Now, coming to the external purchasing documents, the clause is very significant actually. Why? This is very important point here. Okay. So whether it is the release strategy of a purchase order or contract or scheduling agreement, we can use only one clause in release strategies of all external purchasing documents. Whether it is a release strategy of purchase order, release strategy of contract, or scheduling agreement. We cannot use, different clauses for purchase order, contract, or scheduling agreement. Okay, so this is as per standard SAP. We have to use same class. Hence, what we are going to do, we are going to achieve this condition from SAP by using common characteristic in the class whose value differs for purchase order, contract, and scheduling agreement. Okay, for the purchase order, the document, okay, that is the document category will be F. For contract it is K, and for scheduling agreement it is L. Okay, so here, so if we are creating a release strategy for purchase order, then when we create the release strategy in the characteristics, right, when we add the values of the characteristics, we will input the value of this purchasing document category, right? Purchasing document category as F. F. Okay, as F. And when we are creating a release strategy for contract, we will input the value of the purchasing document category as K. And when we are creating a release strategy for scheduling agreement, we will input the value of the purchasing document category as L. Okay, so that, we can create, different release strategies for purchase order, contract, and scheduling agreement by using the same class. Okay, but when we create the release strategies for purchase order, we will put the value of this purchasing document category as F. When we create a release strategy for contract, we will put this purchasing document category as K. And when we create a release strategy for scheduling agreement, we will put the value of this purchasing document as L. So this is a very important point when you create a class, when you create a release strategy for either purchase order or contract or scheduling agreement. If you forget this point, then your creation and testing of the release strategy will fail. Okay, so note down this point, very important. So here, so I am going to create a new class here, class underscore PO underscore CONT contract underscore scheduling agreement, because this class is common for purchase order, contract, and scheduling agreement. This is as per SAP. Okay, it is not any uh, class which I am going to create and inputting on you. This is a this as per SAP only. Okay, so I am going to configuration. Okay, here click on edit class. I'm going to create this class now. This class is not created. Okay, so I'm going to what what how to create a class. We have to give the name of the class here. Okay, I have given the name as class underscore PO underscore CONT contract underscore SA scheduling agreement, and click on the create button. So here I will give the name as class for external purchasing documents. Whether it is a purchase order, contract, scheduling agreement, all are external purchasing documents. So I have given the description like this. I will give the description like this. Then here I will go to the next thing is characteristics tab here. I had to add all the characteristics which I have created for the relief strategy of purchase order. Okay. Okay, here, what are the characteristics here? The first is FRG, EKKO, BSTYP. FRG, okay, I will put BSTYP, enter. Okay, the system will automatically copy all this one. Description, data type, character, number of characters, everything it will copy. The second thing is plant. FRG, EKKO, WRKS, enter, plant. Okay, let me see here. Plant. Okay, plant I will add here. 1 minute. I have plant, copy, plant. Then purchasing organization. Purchasing organization, EKORG. Just to press enter. Input the name of the characteristic and press enter. It will copy everything. So the data type is character format, number of characters 4. Then purchasing group, FRG, EKKO, EKGRP, enter. Here the number of characters 3, it is automatically copied, and the last one is total net order value. So here, so the name of that characteristic I had given was FRG EKKO GNETW INR, total net order value. Okay, so like this. Now save this. Okay, so step number 2 is done. Class is created. Okay, that is done. Next is step number 3. Okay, let me go to the summary. Create the release strategy for the purchase order. Okay, so here I am going to create the release strategy now. Okay, characteristics are there. Class is also ready. I will go to this one. Define release start procedure for purchase order. Click here. Here. Here, we have to, first thing is we have to create the release groups. Next is to create the release codes, then release indicators, and finally we have to create the release strategy. This workflow, we will not go into this one because it is a separate topic, and so we are not going to create any workflow for this one. Okay, because workflow is a totally different business requirement. It is rarely used. Okay, we will not go into that one. So let us go into the first one, release groups. Okay, double click on release groups. Okay, here new entries. So here, let me go to my document. See, whatever the that release group, characteristic names, class name, okay, then release codes we had to create, right? We had to prepare a document here. Here, I have prepared it with all the names of characteristics, class name, okay, then release group is the M1, okay, then release codes P1, P2, P3. Then here, release indicators I'm going to use. These are available in SAP standard and the release strategy name. So whatever, that name we are going to give, we have to input here and prepare this document, okay, with discussion from the business. Okay. So here, our release group is, I have named it as M1. Okay. We have named M1, M1, Okay, and the class is frg ekko underscore pu. Okay, frg ekko underscore pu. So here, I will description here. This is release group of PO. Okay, I will give some name. Okay, anything you can give. Enter and save. Okay, you will get this transport request number. Continue. So release group is created. Go back here. Then the next thing is release codes. Okay, so here, let us go back to our document. Okay, step number 3 is release group is created. Then the next step is create the release codes. Okay, so here I already have shown you this configuration stuff here, right? Here, where is that one here? Yeah, release group, release codes, release indicator, and release strategy. So here I have prepared this, table, in which, all these, are ready. Whatever the names, I had to give, all these are ready. We should keep this ready before the configuration. Let me go to the configuration part here. Double click on release codes, new entries. Okay, we will input the release group and the release codes. The release codes which I am going to use are P1 for purchase manager, P2 for plant manager, P3 for general manager. Okay, release group is M1. Use the release group M1. Release code is P1 for purchase manager. Release group is M1. The next release code is P2. The next higher release code is P2, who is the plant manager. And the next is the release group is same M1. Then the last and the final or highest release code is P3. Here the release code is general manager. Enter and save. Okay, you will get this transport request number. Continue. Okay, so back here. Now the next step is create the release indicators. Okay, so here these release indicators, are whatever you see here, these are standard release indicators which are given by SAP. The first is, B means it is blocked. Okay, that is when the purchase order subject to release strategy, okay, is created, immediately it will be blocked. It cannot be printed or sent to the vendor. Then next is, release indicator or release ID is indicator G, which means it is released. Okay, so here, and one more it is there, the release indicator, or here, the meaning is release no changes. That means here, when we once, that purchase order is released, okay, if the release indicator of the purchase order after releasing it is R, then we cannot make any changes. But here, if the release indicator is G, then, even after releasing, we can make the changes to the purchase order. Here, how? Here, there is one column here called changeable here. If you go here, see here, if I go here, one means cannot be changed. Okay, one means cannot be changed. Two means changeable. Two means changeable. Okay, that means, even once the after you create the purchase order, that can be changed. Okay, with something, material quantity or anything. Okay, something you can, if you want to make some changes, not with the amount of the purchase order, but any other data, right? If you want to make, you can changes. Okay, that is the meaning here. Okay, so we are going to use, these indicators, standard indicators only. They are more than enough. Okay, we will use this B as well as G. Okay, so I'm not going to create any new release indicator. So here, whatever available by SAP, these are enough. I'm going to use B for block, G for release. Okay. Okay. Then finally release strategy here. This is the final step. Okay, we will create the release strategy now. Okay, so double click on the release strategy. Okay, so click on new entries here. Here, we have to input the release group. Then you have to give some name of the release strategy and give some description and add the release codes, which we have just now created. Now here, I will go back to my table. The release group is M1. Okay, then the release strategy name will be RS. I had to give some description. here M1 RS. I will give the name as release strategy PO. Okay, PO, or I can give PO release strategy 1, whatever it is. Okay, PO release strategy. Okay, anything we can give. Okay, like this. Then they add the release codes. Okay, so I am going to add these release codes P1, P2, P3. P1, P2, P3. Just press enter. The system will update description of the release, that is the release group, as well as the release codes. So here, okay, after we input the release codes, the next first step is, here, we can see here, some buttons. This is the first is release prerequisites, then the release statuses. Third one is classification and release simulation. The first thing, release prerequisites. Here, this is the important part in the creation of the release strategy. Just click on the release prerequisites. This pop-up will open here. Here, we can see here, uh, for P1, there is no checkbox. P1. Okay, in the here. Okay, here for P2, here, we can see here two checkboxes. Sorry, there is one checkbox here. So here, this checkbox. And here, we can see here is P1. Okay, top. That means here, for P2 to release the purchase order, P1 should have already released it. So that means the prerequisite here. So, for example, here, whatever the uh, release codes you are seeing here in the vertical line here, P1, P2, P3, and the prerequisite for that particular code should be checked here. If you check here, for P2, if you check here, then the meaning of this one is P1 should release the purchase order, okay, before P1 can release it. Okay, so if I check this checkbox here towards right of this P2, the meaning of this one is from here, whatever is seen in the top of this checkbox, which is P1, should release this one. That means only when P1 has released this one, P2 can release it. Okay, then for P3, that is, if the purchase order has to be released by P3, then it should be released by P1 and P2. Okay, because we know very well, right? The first person to release the purchase order will be P1, purchase manager. The second person who can release it is P2, plant manager, and the last person who can release it is general manager, P3. Okay. For P3 to release the purchase order, it should be released by P1 and P2. Here at the top, P1 is there, just check mark here. The meaning of this one is at the top here, P1 should release it, and also select this one also. At the top here, we can see P2. That means what is the meaning of this one? For P3 to release the purchase order, P1 and P2 should release it. And for P2 to release the purchase order, P1 should release it. Okay, that is the setup of the release prerequisite. Okay, click on continue. Now click on the release statuses here. We can see here, here we can see the first row P1, P2, P3 all are blank. That means when nobody has released it, it will be the release indicator will be black. And here in the second row we can see only P1 has released, still it is black. Okay, third row only P1 and P2 have released, and P3 has not released. Hence, the release indicator will be black. And finally, in the fourth row, we can see all the three release codes P1, P2, and P3 have released it. Now, the release indicator will be G, which is released, or this is the release status. Okay, once all the three release codes have released the purchase order will be released and it can be printed and sent to the vendor. Okay. Click on continue. Okay, so the next is classification. Click on this button classification here. This is a very important part in the configuration of the release strategy. Here, we have to add the values. Okay, okay, for the characteristics here. Okay, purchasing document category. This is for purchase order. It will be F. Okay, here, if you the F4 here, you can see here for purchase order it is F. Select that one and click continue. It will automatically copy. For example, here, okay, you can select here because in the when we created the characteristic for the purchase document category, the system has automatically updated those values. I did not add anything, automatically updated. So to add them here, just click on here F4 here, select this one F for purchase order. Okay, if you are creating a release strategy for a contract, you have to select K. If you are creating a release strategy for scheduling agreement, you have to select L. Okay, that is how the release strategies of purchase order, contract, and scheduling agreement are different. Okay, they are differentiated by only this one, purchasing document category. This is a very, very important point. Okay, so here select purchase order and click continue. It is updated. Plant 9110, purchasing organization IN01, purchasing group M01, and total net order value as per our business requirement is from 25,000 to 50,000 rupees. Okay, here what I will do, I will add 25. See here how I had to, update here, add the values here. 25,000 space, okay, dash 50,000. Okay, just put this one and press enter. It will automatically update, that is this decimal places, everything, two decimal places, as well as the currency, everything, it will capture from the characteristic, because we know very well, right, when we had created that characteristic, right, I will show you again. See how that will automatically, how the system will automatically update, that I will show you here. I currency, everything here again. I will go to material management, purchasing. I will going to show you purchase order. See here, diff release procedure for purchase orders, edit characteristics. Here, GNATW, yeah, here, display. See, when we had created this characteristic, right, we had put the currency as INR and number of decimal places is 2. Okay, decimal places is 2. So this will automatically, this decimal places as well as currency will automatically capture. Okay, when we just put the values here and press enter. I just put 25,000 space dash 50,000 and enter. The system has automatically copied the currency and the decimal places 2 here. Okay, after the end of this one, it is here 2 decimal places here from the characteristic here. Okay, these two things automatically copied. Okay, okay, now we have created the release strategy for the purchasing documents. Okay, now after this one, after you input all the values of the characteristics here, just click on back button and save. This is very important. You have to save now here. Save. You will get this transport request number. Continue. Okay, the data was saved. Now the creation of the release strategy is complete. Okay. Now here we see one button, release simulation. Okay, that means after the configuration or creation of the release strategy is completed, we can simulate the release here. I'm going to click on this simulate release. This pop-up will be open. You can see that there are 3 release codes, P1, P2, P3, and simulate release. Click on this simulate release. One more pop-up will open. Here you can see the 3 release codes, P1, P2, and P3. Here the release indicator will be of course blocked, because before anybody has released this one, when nobody has released this purchase order, the indicator will be blocked. Okay, now for P1, first person we can release it is P1. Hence we can see here release possible. Double click on P1. Okay, P1 has released. Okay, then P2 can release it. P2, no, P2 can release it. Release is possible by P2, but again the release indicator will be blocked. Okay, now double click on P2. P2 has released. Now P3 can release it. Final release code, that is general manager, P3 can release it. Okay, when P1 has released, still it is blocked. Okay, now P3 can release. Double click on P3. Now the release indicator is changed to release. Now the purchase order is released and it can be printed and sent to the external vendor. Okay, so we have simulated the release. Okay, so the configuration is complete and simulation is also complete. Now we will test the release strategy. Okay, how we are going to test the release strategy? We will create one purchase order. Okay, for this plant, purchasing organization, purchasing group, as given here by the business, and the total net order value of the purchase order should be between 25,000 to 50,000, and that should be subject to a release strategy. So when testing any scenario, right, what we have to do, we have to do always, both we have to test positive test as well as negative test. Okay, this is in the real-time business how we are testing the any business scenario. So positive test. What is positive test? Here, the important factor here in this free strategy is if the value of the purchase order is between 25,000 to 50,000 rupees for plant 9110, purchasing organization IN01 and purchasing group, that particular purchase order should be subject to release strategy. Or in the header of the purchase order, we have to see the release strategy tab. Then only it is test is successful. Okay. Okay. Then we have to do some negative test. In the negative test, what we will do? We will create a purchase order for the same plant, purchasing organization and purchasing group, but the value of the purchase order will be less than 25,000 rupees. Okay. And when we create that purchase order for a value less than 25,000 rupees, then that purchase order should not be subject to release strategy. That means in the header of the purchase order, release strategy tab should not be there. Okay. Then only our test are successful. Okay. Now we will do the test here. First, we will do the positive test and also we will do the negative test. And once we create the purchase order, right, for the positive test, we can release the purchase order using the transaction code ME29N. Okay, we will create a purchase order now. Let me go to SAP here. Let us open one screen, new screen. Okay, I am going to use the transaction code ME21N to create the purchase order. ME21N. Okay, the vendor I am going to use, everything is, I have documented here. So we have to document everything here. What vendor you are going to use, what material we are going to use. Okay, everything you have to add here. Okay, I am going to use vendor 50001 and here in the organization data. Okay, I had to use purchase organization IN01, purchasing group M01, and for the plant 9110, our plant will be 9110 and storage location 1000. And for this plant, the company code is, okay, it is 1501. Okay, so here I will add this company code also. 150. Okay, this is the test data. Okay, okay, enter. Okay, I had to add the material. What is the test material I'm going to use here? R-10001. Okay, R-10001 here. And here, see, let us see what is the price, because it should copy the price from the master record or info record. Okay, let us see. Okay, that means here, the system has automatically copied the price as 6,000 INR. That means here, this system has copied from the info record. Okay, so now, what is the, amount for which I am going to test? For 25,000 to 50,000. Okay, so here, if I create the purchase order for 5 pieces, then 5 into 6,000, it is 30,000, which will be more than 25,000 rupees. And this purchase order should be subject to the release strategy. So now what I am going to do, I will change the quantity as 5 here. Okay, so now I can see the net amount of the purchase order is 30,000 rupees. Now this purchase order should be subject to the release strategy. Okay, where I can see that this purchase order is subject to release strategy here in the header tab. So what I will do here, I will click on this check box here. Check. Click on this check. Yeah, we can see here, that, this release strategy tab has appeared here. Click on this release strategy tab and we can see here that, this purchase order is subject to release strategy RS and with the release group M1. And here we can see the release indicator as B, which is blocked. And we can also see that, there are 3 release codes. Okay, now I am going to save this purchase order. Okay, I will note down this purchase order 4500017467. Here, let us display this purchase order. Okay, how to go to this purchase order? Just, click on this button, other purchase order, or from top purchase order. Okay, other purchase order. Just click here. Automatically, it will copy this number 17467. Click on other document. It will display here. This is the purchase order number. Okay. Copy this purchase order number and input in this one test result here. P1 number is, okay, this is the purchase order for positives. Okay, so test is successful. Pass. Test has passed. Okay. Now I will highlight this with green color. This is how we are doing the test in real time. Okay. Now I will release this purchase order. Now the transaction code to test or to release the purchase order is ME29. Yeah. Okay. Let me go here. I will do one thing here. I will open one more screen. Okay. I will go to transaction code ME29 here. Yeah. Okay. So what is the purchase order? I'm going to release 17467. 467. Okay. Just here, I am in ME29 yen. Here, I will do one thing. I will click on other purchase order number 17467. Okay. Put this purchase order number. Enter. Okay. Now we can release this purchase order. Okay. So here in the release strategy tab, right, what we can see, the first code who can release the P1 with the purchase manager. Here in the column release options, we can see here, we'll just expand this one. Here it is green. Okay, just click on this one. Here, see, if I click on button here, it is showing release. That means I can release it by clicking here. Okay, I will click on this green checkbox. Okay, P1 has released it. So status is released, release affected. Now after P1 has released, P2 can release it. Click on this one green checkbox. Okay, P2 has released it. We can see status is affected. And now since P1 and P2 have released the purchase order, finally P3 can release it. Okay, click on this green checkbox here, release. Yeah, now P3 has also released it. And finally, the release indicator will be changed to G or release. Okay, see, after the purchase order is released, again, that is, if this general manager of P3, he want to cancel it. Okay, I want to hold it for some time. Okay, he can cancel this one. For example, here, cancel release. Okay, cancel. Then after P3 has cancelled, okay, then P2 also can cancel. And finally, P1 also can cancel. Again, that purchase order will be back to the initial, black state here. We can see here. Okay. Now, I showed you this one, how to cancel this release. Okay. Now, I'm again going to release this one by P1. P1 has released. The release indicator will be B black. Okay. Now, P2. P2. Click on this one green checkbox. P2 has released. Again, it is B black. We can see the release indicator is black again. Okay. Now, finally, P3. General manager. Okay. Released by P3. Now we can see the release indicator has changed to G, which is released. Okay. Now the purchase order is released. Now we will do a negative test here. Negative test is, we will create a purchase order for less quantity, means quantity 4. 4 means the amount will be 4 into 6,000, which is 24,000 rupees. And this purchase order should not be subject to release strategy. That means when we click on the checkbox, then that release strategy tab should not be there in the header level. Okay. Let me go here again. Okay. So here. So after you release the purchase order, right, you have to always save this one. Don't forget to save. Okay. Okay. So, okay. Once you save this one, this becomes status becomes green, and the purchase order will look like this. It is released. Okay. Here, even if you go to the um, here status here, if you go to status here, you can see here release completed. Okay. Once you release a purchase order, right, you have to don't forget to go to the status tab here and see what is the status of the purchase order. Okay, release completed. Okay, and also here you can see it is green released. Okay, so that is done. Okay, now we will do the negative testing. I will go to ME21 one. Can you create one purchase order for 4 pieces? Okay, put the vendor, go to organization data, put the purchasing organization, purchasing group, company code, put the material. Okay, material, quantity 4, plant, storage location, enter. Okay, now we can see the net order value is 24,000 rupees, which is less than 25,000 rupees. Okay, now what I will do, how I will see that this purchase order is not subject to release strategy? I will click on this check button here. I can see that, that release strategy tab is not updated here in the header level. We can see here it is not updated. That means this purchase order is not subject to release strategy. Why? Because if you go to the item detail, the value of the purchase order is 24,000 rupees, which is less than the minimum value of 25,000 rupees. Okay, that means if the value of the purchase order is more than 25,000 and up to 50,000 rupees, then only this release strategy will be applied. Okay, so now I am going to save it. Okay, after saving this one, I will display this purchase order, which is the number is 17468. Here, click on the other purchase order button. So the purchase order will come here. We can display here, and we can see that in the header that clear strategy tab is not updated. So our negative testing is also successful or passed. Pass. Okay, I will select mark it as passed and green. Okay, highlight it with green color. Okay, and our testing is also complete. So our configuration or creation of a test release strategy for a purchase order and also testing is also successfully done. And this video will end here. Thank you for watching, and let us meet in the on some other topic, interesting topic in the next video. See you by that time. See you.